the set. Lights, camera, action. Roll camera.
Welcome to podcast 17, entitled Getting on the Same Page. It's from chapter 11 in our book, Marriage on the Mend.
Just before we got married the second time, one of the things Penny wanted to do, she wanted to know if I would consider reading a book with her. And I'm not a reader of books. I'll read for information, but I don't read books. And so I thought about it and prayed about it and asked God about it. And so on our wedding day, one of the vows I told her, I says, we'll try and read a book, every so often. And so maybe we read about 2 or 3 a year together. And the thing about it is when we're reading the books, we find something that we both want to read about. At the beginning, it was about the dreams that God had for us, and we wanted to dream with God. And we read books on prayer, on fasting, and so we're always looking for something where somebody is championing us to be all that we can be for God.
Yeah, not all the books that we read together are about marriage. They're about all kinds of different topics. We ask God to help us pick the books out, don't we?
That's right.
Because we realize what Clint likes to read, and he mentioned he doesn't like it a lot. But what he likes to read is different from what I like to read. So we thought, oh, Lord, how are we going to do this? But he kept showing us ways to find books that worked for both of us. And like any tool in Marriage on the Mend, we always say tweak this to fit your own marriage. Figure out the kinds of genres that you like, that what works for your marriage. We know that the chapters need to be kind of kept short and, not super wordy and all those things, but we've learned that because we've actually picked a few that didn't work for us, did we?
Right.
One or two in particular, but we kind of know now, and we trade off. Once we read a book that I want to read, then the next time it's Clint's turn to pick, and we'll go to walk the aisles of the bookstore, and he'll have a couple in his hand, and kind of say, this is what I'm leaning toward. And again, we always go to God in prayer, and He shows us exactly what to do. So it's a great way to get on the same page with your spouse.
So what do you do when you read these books? Well, we read the books and then we kind of discuss it after we read. Like we might read a chapter a week. Mm-hmm. And so one day a week we'll pick that as the time we're going to read the book. And then she'll read a few pages, I'll read a few pages until we finish the chapter.
Yeah, we each have our own copy of the book. That's what's worked best for us. I suppose you could do it differently, but
but for us, I like having my own book because she likes to underline everything. And that bugs me. I don't like to do that in my book. I'll do some highlighting of scripture in the Bible, but that's about it. But anyway, you need to ask each other some questions. And in case you're not comfortable with, well, what kind of questions do you ask? Well, in chapter 11, we give you 10 or 11 discussion prompts to help you out if you don't know what to ask. So here are a few we wrote for you. How can I relate to this chapter? Because one thing that spoke to my heart was, my favorite part of this book so far has been, and then finally I can identify with the author when he or she said. Those are just some of the prompts. You can have your own prompts, but we try to help everybody out. And one of the other things is we have found some books that really work for us, that really help us to go to the next level with the Lord.
So it's a great tool to help you and your spouse get on the same page, to explore some maybe new topics or things that you haven't talked about before in your marriage. And so we highly recommend at least giving it a shot. Maybe 1 book a year or 2 books a year, something like that. Don't freak each other out if reading isn't both of your favorite things to do. Remember, this is about connecting together in that oneness, stronger and stronger. please continue to tune in to our podcasts. We love having you here. Thank you for allowing us to share these tools with you. Our Marriage on the Mend book is available on our website, and be sure to tune in to podcast 18. Are we really at 18?
Right, we're at 18
soon.
And the last one will be podcast 30, and so that's down the road a ways.
Yes, it is, but we'll get there one podcast at a time.
So have a wonderful time reading books with your spouse.
Love it. Bless you.
God bless.